Plenty of us like to do a good deed by donating clothes and other goods to charity. But how do you know the good deed you're doing is doing the good you'd intended? Well, it can be harder than you think, especially when you simply dump your stuff into those big charity boxes you see all around town. Here with a little bit of advice is Fred Just, the convener of the Alliance of Nonprofit Stores. And welcome. Good to have you.
Thank you, Bill. Good to be here.
First off, what exactly is the Alliance of Nonprofit Stores?
Well, it's an organization loosely formed of 11 agencies that came together who have thrift stores or consignment shops. And the idea is to support one another with sharing of information, marketing, pricing. We also have some of our trucks that belong to the agencies, save money by dealing with one provider of gasoline. So it's a way of us meeting together to share information about the thrift world, and also to encourage people to give to these stores, because what it does is it helps preserve the environment by keeping clothing and some goods that would be put into the dump sites, keep that in operation. It's also a way of providing jobs for people. We provided over 1,600 jobs this past fiscal year.
Across the whole group?
Across the whole group,
yeah,
right.
Wow.
And, but the key of us, we believe that it's so important for the money that comes through people's donations to go directly back into the community. And so we guarantee that 100% of the funds that come into through our stores go back into the community and service programs for the homeless, for job training, for literacy, for different types of human service. Everyone is across the board.
Well, so we're talking organizations like Goodwill, Salvation Army, St. Vincent de Paul, a lot of familiar names here in our region. And you do see the boxes all over town. It seems these days there's more and more of these boxes, and some of them are for national, international charities as well.
Yes.
So what's going on? Why do we see a proliferation of collection points these days?
I think if you go back 15 years when the thrift store movement really got in gear, when we said it's no longer your grandmother's thrift store. They're well lit, they're large, they're very clean and efficient. And as that has progressed, so has the increase of the amount of clothing that we get. Now, 15 years ago, when we had clothing that did not sell and it stayed on the floor for 3 to 6 weeks, we moved that into baling, and we sent it to brokers who in turn sent that to third world countries, developing countries. Other clothing that was torn or ripped or soiled, whatever, that we couldn't sell, couldn't use, that went into what we call rag or salvage. Now, back in that time, if you had a pound of salvage, it paid about 4 to 6 cents.
Only 4 to 6 cents
4 to 6 cents,
wow.
right. And then the credential or the good clothing paid about 23 cents.
Okay.
So now we're getting about 23 cents per pound for the rag, and about 43 cents a pound for the credential, the good clothing. Okay. So that has become a lucrative market. So more and more nonprofits are getting into this. And one of the groups you see around our area with over 300 boxes is Planet Aid.
Okay, right.
And,
I've seen some of the boxes, right.
We feel, the Alliance feels that there's plenty, there's a surplus of goods here in the United States. So everyone can share, and we, even though we're competitors, and for donors and for goods and for money, we cooperate because we believe in the abundance in this country. We would like Planet Aid to come with us, but unfortunately their money that they get from the clothing, the sale of clothing, goes overseas, perhaps for good reason, but none of the money that comes from those sales, from that credential or salvage, stays in the community.
So it really comes down to paying attention to who you're donating.
Yes.
It doesn't matter if you're cutting a check or you're giving goods in one of those boxes, kind of knowing that, well, in one case this may be going overseas and helping people who no doubt need it around the world.
Right. But
in other cases, 100% of what I'm donating is going to benefit folks I know here in the neighborhood. Right.
That's what we 11 agencies guarantee. And there are a couple other organizations too located in Boston. Kid Education, for example, is in town, and but we try to educate people. For example, a lot of people thought Red, White, and Blue were, those two major stores here were nonprofit stores and felt free to give. But we had to educate people saying that's a for-profit store, just so they know. And sometimes people will be discriminating and other times they will not. But we just want people, as you said, to know exactly what the agency is about. So we suggest
and it's a good point. I mean, there's such the whole thrift industry is such a craze now as a fashion statement. And I think it's turning into a for-profit opportunity. So it's amazing. So for folks who really do want to know that when they donate something, it is a donation to a nonprofit, and it really is benefiting our community. You've actually got a whole new logo that people can look for, like a stamp of approval or whatever.
Right. We love our logo. It says, "Shopping never felt so good, giving never felt so right." So if you want more information on these 11 agencies, where their stores are and so on, go to our www.shopans.org.
Shopans.org. And I would take it you can look for this seal, in a store window or even on some of the boxes if they're participating in this local charity effort.
That's correct. And if people aren't sure where to give, they can always go online and find Charity Navigator. And most of the agencies have their 990 form on there, and they can check and find out about these agencies.
Excellent. Well, everybody should do their due diligence so they know where their money's going. That's for sure. Fred Just with the Alliance of Nonprofit Stores. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bill. Good to be here.
And next up, they say cash, not profit, runs the business. So what's the best way to keep track of all that cash? Well, of course, there's now an app for that. Stay with us.